NBC Sports. Brings you the final game of the 1968 World Series. The Detroit Tigers versus the St. Louis Cardinals. And the biggest subject among the ball players today and the Cardinals and the Tigers, the weather. An almost perfect day here in St. Louis, 65 degrees, no humidity, just a slight breeze, a brilliant, bright fall afternoon for Game 7 with Lolich against Gibson. Hi, everybody. I'm Curt Gowdy of NBC Sports. This is Harry Caray, the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals, and roaming the stands as your reporter will be Tony Kubek. And once again, the Cardinals are calling on Bob Gibson to win them a world championship. He won in the 7th game of '64. He won again last year in the 7th game, and he's warming up right now. Of Yugoslavian descent, a free spirit, Mickey Lolich has saved the Tigers in this series. He's out after his 3rd victory today. He's pitching with 2 days rest. Gibson is pitching with 3 days rest. And an odd twist in this series has been each club has hit better in the other's ballpark. The Tigers have scored about 3 times as many runs here as they did in Tiger Stadium, and it's the same for the Cardinals. They scored 20 runs in Detroit and have scored only 6 runs in their own ballpark. Right now, let's get the observations of Harry Caray.
Well, Curt, they've gone through about 35 exhibition games, 162 regular season games, and here now it comes down to just 9 innings of baseball to decide the world's champion. Bob Gibson, who pitched the decisive 7th game last year, could become the first pitcher in baseball history to win 3 games in 2 different World Series. Mickey Lolich, who's been outstanding for the Tigers, makes it look like a tremendous pitching duel coming up. I don't know who's going to win this one, Curt. I don't think anybody in the world could possibly know it. Around the field here, the stands are being filled. There'll be another capacity crowd of better than 54,000 people. You know our ballpark now, I'm sure. 330 feet down the left field line. Over in left center, it's 386. And the Detroit Tigers find this ballpark just as friendly to their hitters as their home ballpark, even though this one is supposed to be much harder to hit home runs in. As Norm Cash said, though, Detroit's got the kind of hitters that doesn't make any difference about the ballpark. On around into the right field corner where Bob Gibson is just warming up. It's 330 down the right field line, just as it is down the left field line. A perfect day for baseball. You see Gibson getting ready in the right field bullpen, and across the way, southpaw Mickey Lolich for the Detroit Tigers. Curt?
Bob Gibson has allowed just 1 run in these 2 games. He shut the Tigers out here in the opener, and then he allowed them 1 run at Tiger Stadium. Mickey Lolich came back to even this series in the 2nd game when he defeated the Cardinals 8-1. And, of course, in the big game for the Tigers, the game that kept them alive, after allowing the Cardinals 3 runs in the 1st inning, he became stronger as the ball game went along. He shut the Cardinals out the rest of the way to win 5-3 and bring the World Series back to St. Louis. Lolich against Gibson. And now we're going to have the introduction of the players and the playing of our
Here are the
national
lineups for Game 7 of the 1968 World Series. Here is the manager of the Tigers, number 10, Mayo Smith. Batting first and playing second base, number 3, Dick McCollum. Batting second and playing shortstop, number 24, Mickey Stanley. Batting third and playing right field, number 6, Al Kaline. Batting fourth and playing first base, number 25, Norm Cash. Batting fifth and playing left field, number 23, Willie Horton. Batting sixth and playing center field, number 5, Jim Northrup. Batting seventh and catching, number 11, Bill Freehan. Batting eighth and playing third base, number 8, Don Wirt. Batting ninth and pitching, number 29, Mickey Lolich, who is warming up in the bullpen. And here are the remaining coaches and players of the Detroit Tigers. And now for the St. Louis Cardinals. Here is manager Red Schoendienst. Batting first and playing left field, number 20, Lou Brock. Batting second and playing second base, number 25, Julian Javier. Batting third and playing center field, number 21, Curt Flood. Batting fourth and playing first base, number 30, Orlando Cepeda. Batting fifth and playing third base, number 18, Mike Shannon. Batting sixth and catching, number 15, Tim McCarver. Batting seventh and playing right field, number 9, Roger Maris. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 27, Dal Maxwell. Batting ninth and pitching, number 45, Bob Gibson, who is warming up in the bullpen. And here are the remaining coaches and players of the St. Louis Cardinals. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem, which will be played by Dick Renna's band and will be sung by the wife of the Cardinal manager, Mrs. Red Schoendienst.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, through darkness and bright doors, through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's swift gleam, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and so
The final game of the 1968 World Series being brought to you from St. Louis as the Cardinals meet the Tigers.
The umpires will be Tom Gorman of the National League behind the plate, Jim Honachek of the American League at first base, Bill Haller of the American League down the right field line, Stan Landis of the National League at second base, Doug Harvey of the National League down the left field line, and Bill Kinnaman of the American League at third base are grouped around home plate with managers Mayo Smith of the Tigers and Red Shandies of the St. Louis Cardinals. The commissioner of baseball, William Eckert. You see Warren Giles, president of the National League, right next to him. Commissioner Eckert will throw out the first base ball, and he does, to catcher Tim McCarver of the Cardinals. Returns the baseball to him. I think they're going to do it again. Or, no, that's it. Doesn't need a retake this time, and the commissioner has the souvenir of the ball that he tossed into play. As Curt told you, just an absolutely beautifully perfect afternoon for baseball. We pause briefly for station identification. The Cardinals are taking the field. The lineups. Dick McAuliffe at second base for Detroit. Mickey Stanley at shortstop. Al Kaline, a big hero, in right field. Norm Cash having a great series at first base. Willie Horton in left field, the power man for the Tigers. Jim Northrup, the Grand Slam kid, in center field. Bill Freehan behind the plate. Don Wirt at third base. And Mickey Lolich will be the pitcher. There's the Detroit Tiger lineup. All set now. There goes Bob Gibson strolling out to the mound, trying for his third victory of the series. Crowd giving him a big hand. Here's the St. Louis Cardinals lineup. Lou Brock in left field. Julian Javier at second base. Curt Flood in center field. Orlando Cepeda at first base. Mike Shannon at third base. Tim McCarver, the catcher. Roger Maris in right field against the southpaw. Down Maxfield at shortstop. And Bob Gibson, the pitcher. And now, before I turn the microphone over, I just want to say, not only a great sportscaster, as you all know, but I just want to tell you what a wonderful gentleman, and whose friendship I so highly value. A tremendous fellow who makes a guy like myself feel so at ease doing a job like this. Just one of the greatest guys in the world, ladies and gentlemen, Curt Gowdy.
Thank you so much, Harry, and good afternoon again, everybody. And Dick McAuliffe in the batter's box. Bob Gibson, 32 years old, from Omaha, Nebraska. Once again, carrying the load for the Cardinals in the final game. McAuliffe batting .261 in this series. A typical Bob Gibson pitch, a fastball on the corner. That's what the Tigers talk about, is how Gibson's on the corners all the time. Never gives you a good pitch to hit. There's his curve. That was the pitch that was so effective in the first game of the series when he set the record-breaking 17 strikeouts. No balls, 2 strikes to Dick McAuliffe. Playing him as a pull hitter to the right. 1-2 now. Leave a gap in left center for him. Just missed that corner. 2-2. Gibson struck out 17 in his first start, struck out 10 in his next start. He's had beautiful control. He walked 1 in the opening game. And he had 2 walks in game 4. That's low inside. So from a 2-strike count, it's a full count now, 3-2 to Dick McAuliffe. The 3-2 pitch on the way. A high pop foul. Cepeda squeezed right up against the box seats, leans in and has it. The next batter for the Tigers, Mickey Stanley, who's had 5 hits and 24 trips, batting .208. Right. Will Mickey Stanley be the regular shortstop for the Tigers next year? Many of us are wondering.
Curt, he hasn't done a thing wrong at shortstop. It's been an amazing performance.
Right to the box, a line drive. Stanley lines out to Gibson. Gibson, a marvelous all-around athlete with quick reflexes, good fielder, good batter, helps himself. He wins 3 or 4 or 5 games a year with his fielding and batting besides his pitching arm. And here's been the star of the series for the Tigers, along with Lolich, Al Kaline, batting .440 in the series and leading the series in runs batted in with 8. He's had 11 hits. A ball to him. Hard to remember when 2 players have a chance to break the base hit record for a World Series. The record's 13. Kaline has 11. Brock has 12 hits. There's a foul sailing over in back of the Tiger dugout and out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, you heard Gibson being interviewed yesterday by Tony Kubek, and he was asked who's the toughest hitter in the Tigers, and he said Kaline. Al's had 3 hits and 8 times up against him. 2 down, first inning, no score. A 1-1 pitch to Kaline. Ball 2, 2-1. Pitching Kaline low in this series. The 2-1 pitch. Low outside, ball 3. He hasn't had too many high pitches to look at and not too many curveballs. A good curveball hitter. That low outside pitch, he's been going to right field and up the middle with it. 3-1. Norm Cash on deck. Fouls are back. 3-2 count. Bob Gibson was not knocked out of the box once this season. That's how consistent he has been for the Cardinals. He pitched 13 shutouts during the regular season. There's strike 3 of third and a fourth. Well, Gibson breezes through the first inning as he sets the Tigers down 1-2-3. And at the end of the first half inning, it's the Tigers nothing with the Cardinals coming to bat. Michael Stephen Lolich, 28 years old, trying for his 3rd World Series victory. Studying, he flips that ball as he lets it go, and actually he's quicker to the batter than it looks from the stand. He's what the ball players call sneaky fast. His stuff is always moving. His fastball runs in, runs out. A good sharp slider and curveball, and he's usually down low. And for the first time this year, Lolich is pitching with 2 days rest. Lou Brock has been effective against Lolich. Brock has had 4 hits and 8 times up in the 2 games he's faced Lolich. Brock batting .480 for the series. Downward in shallow at third again against him. He's been going to left field almost exclusively against the left-handed pitcher in this series. The ball to him. Javier's on deck, and then Curt Flood. Lolich has been a strikeout pitcher in the series, too. He struck out 17 in 2 games. Fouled off. He's had very good control. He walked 2 in game number 2 here in St. Louis, and he walked only 1 in game 5 at Detroit. 1 ball, 1 strike to Lou Brock. No score, last of the first inning. Bounding ball to the right side. McAuliffe quickly over to Cash. You don't mess around with that ball in the infield against Brock. You get rid of it. 1 out. Julian Javier is batting second today for the Cardinals. Having another good series, batting .391. He's had 9 hits and 23 up. He hits left-handers very well during the course of a season, doesn't he, Harry?
Yes, I should say, about twice as well as he hits right-handers, and he has great power against them, Curt. He can hit the long ball.
1 away for the Cardinals, nobody on. Fly ball to center field. Jim Northrup nearly tripped. Hauls it in. You saw him catch his spikes. Now he'll look over there where he caught those spikes. Would have been disastrous. 2 down. Curt Flood has 6 hits and 24 times up, batting .250. Usually when Lolich is right, they're hitting the ball on the ground against him when that sinker of his is working. Tough pitch inside. Ball 1. I remember Bob Lemon, Harry. He was a sinker ball pitcher, and he liked to have his arm a little bit tired. We'll explain that in a minute. A 1-0 pitch. He was quick with that one, 1-1. He always said that if he was strong and fresh, that he had a tendency to get the ball up. And a sinker ball pitcher likes to pitch low. When his arm was a little tired, his sinker would work better, and he'd be keeping the ball down low. Change up, missing. 2-1. Two down, nobody on, no score, last of the first inning. That curve breaks low and inside. 3-1 to Curt Flood. Lolich has been outstanding in the late season, last year and this year. He likes the cool weather. It's an ideal day for him today. Fly ball, that one may drop in, right center. Kaline throws it back into McAuliffe, and there's the first hit of the ball game. Curt Flood loops the single in the right center. Orlando Cepeda has had 7 hits and 25 times up, batting .280. He leads the Cardinals in runs batted in this series with 6. He's hit 2 homers. He hit a 2-run homer against Lolich in Detroit, that Mickey remembers. Flood getting his lead. Bounce foul down the third base line. Standing room only in the bullpens today. They've got everybody out there. Every pitcher is in the bullpen of both clubs. Flood on first. Lolich gets him back. One strike pitch to Cepeda, low, 1-1. That's the Tiger bullpen. Out in deep left center. The Cardinals are in right center. The Tiger bullpen in the sun and the Cardinals in the shade. Went after a bad pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And there's the Cardinal bullpen. So it is 0-0 here in the last of the first inning. The Cardinals have 2 down. Curt Flood at first. A 1-ball, 2-strike count to Orlando Cepeda. They're deep and straight away for him. A low outside pitch that he went after again. That's 2 pitches he's gone after, Harry, out of the strike zone.
Ball must be hard to pick up or something. He swung at one over his head, and this one was way low and outside, as you pointed out, and he usually has a good strike zone.
Curt Flood at first, 2 down. Lolich ready now with his pitch to Cepeda. And that's a foul ball. Hit hard down the left field line. One ball, 2 strikes. Mickey Lolich, from August 6th until the end of the season, won 10 games and lost 2. The year before, he won 9 out of his last 10 decisions from August, the second week of August till the end of the season. Foul ball driven down the right field line. The stands. That's why they play Cepeda straight away. He can drive the ball to all fields with power. Cardinal fans starting that rhythmic clapping. The 1-2 pitch. Curve breaks low inside.
Curt Lolich seems to have real good stuff.
Stuff's moving. He moves the ball around, too, Harry. He's in and out with it. Pitching a little more deliberately today than he did the previous 2 games. 2-2 count. Runner going. Ball 3. The throw is high and flooded.
Let's watch it in slow motion. Bill Freehan had a very tough pitch to handle. His throw is high and Flood is in there, as you can see, but he had to pick that pitch right off the hitter's shutouts.
We have our first scoring opportunity of the game now. The Cardinals have Flood at second. That's his 3rd stolen base of the series. There are 2 down and a 3-2 count to Cepeda. With Mike Shannon on deck. Ball 4. Lolich worked very carefully to Cepeda. Game being brought to you in living color, exclusively on NBC, where America watches more sports than on any other network. Mike Shannon batting .280, 7 hits, 25 times up. He's been up 8 times against Lolich in the 2 games and didn't get a hit. Flood's at second, Cepeda's at first. 2 down. That curve is missing for him now. He's low and inside with it. It's breaking down and into the right-hander. As Harry pointed out, he's had a good curve ball. One ball, no strikes. Goes after it, 1-1. There's Flood at second. Cepeda, come on, Mike. He's at first. They're playing off the bag against him. He'll get a big lead there. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's a drive in the right center. Kaline's over in front of it and has it for the out. He's been all over that right field area in this series. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. At the end of the first inning, it is 0-0. Well, this is our last baseball telecast of the season on NBC, but we'll be back next year with the Major League Baseball Game of the Week every Saturday afternoon. Baseball is moving into divisional play, next year. And they'll have playoffs, All-Star Game in 9, the World Series, and we hope you'll be with us next season. Norman Cash. A solid World Series for him. He's batting .409. Pitches low outside. Cash has had 9 hits and 22 up. Has driven in 5 runs. Cash has opened his stance up a little bit. He changed a couple of months ago. Fouls it off. He had 1 year when he hit .360, won the batting title. He said he tried to pull everything since. And this year, he's hit over .300 the last 2 months of the season, and he attributes it to that change in stance. Fouls it back. He's going to left center, right, although he's normally a pull hitter. Cash says, well, I hope we win, naturally. Because I know one thing, we haven't embarrassed ourselves. There's a high fly ball into right center. Maris and Flood. It's Maris calling for it for the grab. 1 down. Willie Horton. 5 hits and 19 times up. Batting .263. He's had 1 home run, and that's been right here. Titanic shot into the center field bleachers. Fastball's in tight on him. Nothing to nothing in the top of the second. Foul back. Gibson's throwing hard as usual. The two coaching at first, Wally Moses, and over at third is Tony Cuccinella. 2 factors the Tigers talk about Gibson is how hard he throws from the first inning to the 9th inning. There's his breaking pitch in. He's got that one going today. He's going to really be rough. That's the pitch he had going in the first game. And also they talk about how he hits the corner so much. 1 out. Nobody on the 1-2 pitch. Just outside to Willie Horton. 2-2. Fouls the breaking pitch back. That hung up over the plate for Horton that time.
He had a murderous swing at that one.
1 away, bases empty. 2-2 to Willie Horton. Foul again back. The weather has been almost as odd as the series. We had rain on Sunday, bright sunshine on Monday, rain yesterday, and a beautiful day today. And the games have gone like that. One side of one day and the other club coming back, off and on, off and on. 2-2 to Horton. Strikes out on a curve. Tried to hold up, couldn't do it. Bob Gibson now is 2 strikeouts away from tying his own record of 31 strikeouts in a World Series. That was a record he set in 1964 against the Yankees. Here's the Grand Slam kid, Jim Northrup. Takes it high for a ball. Northrup batting .208. He's had 5 hits in this series. 2 of them have been home runs. He's second on the Tigers in RBIs. Gibson's high, ball 2. Two down, nobody on. The score, 0-0. Top of the second. The 2-0 pitch. His fastball is through. Strike 2-1. Jim Northrup. Fouls it back. 2-2. Two pitch. Held up on it. 3-2. Three-two pitch. Right down on the curve. Curve has been Gibson's big pitch. That's his third strikeout. 3 up and 3 down. At the end of an inning and a half, it's the Tigers nothing and the Cardinals nothing. Tony Kubek.
Thank you, Curt. You know, anytime the Cardinals need the big game, they call on Mr. Bob Gibson. Mrs. Bob Gibson, Charlene, you must be quite proud of your husband.
I sure am.
It's quite a responsibility on his shoulders.
And on mine, this is the third time I've stepped through something like this.
I guess you'd like some runs quick, wouldn't you?
I sure would. Like right now.
Charlene, thank you so much. Now let's go back upstairs to Curt and Harry.
Tim McCarver, Roger Maris, and Del Maxville. They'll be up for the Cardinals against Mickey Lolich in the last half of the second. McCarver, 8 out of 24, a .333 World Series average. Strokes it foul down the first base line. Dick Sisler coaching at first for the Cardinals, and Joe Schultz at third. One and one to McCarver, who's had only one hit and 7 times up against Lolich. High hard one. 1 and 2. Cardinals were getting some airline tickets and passports today. They're going to Japan to represent the major leagues after the World Series, making the annual tour of Japan that one of the United States teams does every year. Fouls it back. Nice catch of a souvenir in back of us. One ball, 2 strikes. Carver started after that high fastball, 2 and 2. Lolich is pitching him high. He's usually down low on the rest of them. 2 and 2. Watch Freehan spot that catcher's miss. A foul back again. Well, with 2 days rest, Lolich has thrown more pitches here in the first inning and this inning than he did in either of Game 2 or Game 5. Cardinals had 2 men on against him in the first. Now it's a 2-2 count here to McCarver. His curve just missing. Gibson's curve has been his pitch. He's been hitting with his curveball, and Lolich is missing with his. That doesn't mean it'll stay this way. 3 and 2 to Tim McCarver. Nobody on, nobody out. He walked it. A second walk by Lolich. Roger Maris has been platooned in this series until Game 7. And they play him against a left-hander today. This will be his final professional baseball game today. He's retiring after this one. He's not going with the Cardinals to Japan. And this is it.
And so will it be for Eddie Matthews of the Detroit Tigers after a long and wonderful career, both in the National and American League. Eddie Matthews will retire from baseball after this game.
They both have bruised up a few pitchers in their time.
Yeah, they've hit a few balls out of the park.
McCarver on first, nobody out. The score, 0-0, last of the second. Roger Maris, the batter. And there's Lolich's curve missing again. And now they have, I believe, sent the call to the Tiger bullpen. I see some stirring around out there. Maybe not. Maybe they're just shifting around. Foul back. One ball, one strike to Maris. That's McCarver on first. Nobody out. 0-0. Last of the second. He pops it up over toward the Cardinals dugout. It is right on top of the dugout. Cash disappeared inside and comes back out. Dick Sisler gives him a rib. One ball, two strikes. Line drive on one hop to Stanley, steps on second, throws to first, double play. Holding at first was McCarver. He thought that ball had been caught. He didn't want to get doubled up. But that skidded right in front of Stanley, who came up with it, stepped on the bag at second, and fired to first. Double play. 2 down, nobody on.
Are you sure Stanley never played shortstop before?
Well, there's 2 former shortstops in this ballpark today. Pee Wee Reese over in radio, Marty Marion in the Stadium Club. They have to be admiring his play in this series.
Including our own Tony Kubek all over the place.
Tony all over the stadium. 2 down, nobody on. Dal Maxville, the batter, still looking for his first series hit. Sounding ball, downward to Cash. That's it. And the Cardinals are out. No runs, no hits. There were no errors. Nobody left. At the end of 2, it is 0-0. This game is authorized under television rights granted by the Commissioner's Office solely for the entertainment of our audience. And any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner's Office is prohibited. Bob Gibson will pitch to the bottom third of the Tiger order. In the third, Freehan, Wirt, and Lolich. Bill Freehan has had 1 hit in 20 times. Curve is outside. Harry, he went in for his first lick in batting practice today and broke his favorite bat. He says, "What a World Series I'm having." Got a good sense of humor. He hit himself a little bit.
Maybe that's what he needed, was a new bat.
Looked like Gibson's slider that time for a strike. 1-1.
Curt, I've never seen Gibson throw so many breaking balls as he is in this game.
1-1 pitch. Fastball lined in the center at Curt Flood. 1 away. Well, Bob Gibson now has retired the first 7 batters he's faced. Don Wirt, 1 hit in 14. They play Wirt to swing late, to hit to the opposite field. In center and right, and leave left center open for him. That's a strike. There you can see Flood over in right center. Now notice that big gap in left center, with Lou Brock playing in straight away and left. Overpowers him with a fastball, strike two. Bob Gibson has the reputation, if you don't get him early, forget it. He gets stronger as the game goes along. The 2-strike pitch. And Gibson has tied his own all-time World Series record. That's his 31st strikeout in this series. He struck out 31 in 3 games against the Yankees in 1964. This is his 4th strikeout today. And he's been really consistent in strikeouts. This is his 21st inning, and he's had at least 1 strikeout in 19 of those 21 innings. Strike to Lolich. Mickey's been quite a hitter. He's had 3 hits 8 times up in the series. And he had a home run here. Quick to... broken the World Series record. 32 strikeouts now is a new record, and he'll probably pile that one up. 3 up and 3 down at the end of 2 1/2. Tigers nothing, Cardinals nothing. All right, Tony.
We've got Mrs. Roger Maris. Pat, you must be a little saddened today knowing Roger's playing his last ball game.
Yes, I certainly am, but I'm sure we'll just end up winners, and the good Lord upstairs is watching over us.
Pat, good luck to you. Good luck to Roger. Let's go back upstairs to Curt and Harry.
Thank you.
Bob Gibson had a standing ovation, especially when it was flashed on the scoreboard about his World Series record. He's now broken 2 World Series records in strikeouts, 17 in 1 game, and the most strikeouts ever in the series, breaking his own. Ball 2 to Gibson. Lolich has walked 2. Lou Brock's on deck at the top of the order, and then Javier. Lolich fires a fastball through for a strike. 2-1. Gibson dangerous with the bat for a pitcher. Fouls it off, 2-2. The only pitcher to ever hit 2 World Series home runs. He's had 2. There's a chopper being charged by third baseman Wirt, who throws him out easily, and there's 1 down. Lolich jammed him on the fist with a fastball. Wirt hasn't hit much, but he's played a steady third base. Lou Brock grounded out his first time. Brock batting .462. He has the highest lifetime batting average of any player who's played, and this is for World Series competition. Any man who's ever played in the series. There's a good curve in the corner for a strike. 0-0. The Cards have 1 out, nobody on, last to the 3rd. Bounding ball again to the right side. McAuliffe throws him out. And that ball took a funny skid. We've had several bad hops in this series, and they've all been headed toward the second baseman. Well, they say keep Brock off the bases. Lolich has done it twice.
I was thinking the same thing.
Till today, every time you look up, he's been on somewhere. Javier flied out his first time. Mickey Lolich, owner of 5 motorcycles. Has that sinker ball going for him. Easy tapper to third, and Lolich and Gibson are matched up here now. So far, this looks like a rouser of a pitching duel. 3 up and 3 down. At the end of 3, it is 0-0. This is Curt Gowdy with Harry Caray, Tony Kubek from St. Louis. I'll straighten that out next time, Tony. Dick McAuliffe fouled out his first time, batting .250. We're at the top of the Tiger batting order now. McAuliffe, Stanley, and Kaline. Gibson. There's a high drive to right field with Maris backing up just a bit. 1 away. So the first 10 men up for the Tigers have gone down. Here's a fellow who's hit the hardest shot out Gibson so far, a line drive to the box that Gibson stabbed in the first inning. 5 strikeouts, no walks so far. Strike. Lolich looked a little wobbly in the first inning, but he's breezed the last 2 innings. No balls, 1 strike to Mickey Stanley. Foul back. The count quickly goes 0-2.
I think Pee Wee Reese just made his first error of the season in the radio booth.
The 2-strike pitch. High. 1-2. Gibson is bearing down now on another record. Most strikeouts lifetime in a World Series. Ground ball in the hole. Maxfield has a long throw, and he couldn't straighten up and let it go. He caught his spikes. That is a single, an infield hit for Mickey Stanley. Looks like he's hurt his right foot or his leg. Well, there's the first base runner for the Tigers. That would have been a tough play for Maxwell anyway, because Stanley can run. Maxwell had a long throw from deep in the hole. Fastball outside to Kaline. Each team has had 1 hit. Kaline struck out his first time. 0-0 in the top of the 4th. Cutting away the fastball. 1-1.
Curt, you mentioned what a good fielder Gibson is. What makes him remarkable is the way he throws himself off the mound, how he can react to catch balls hit back that way.
1 ball, 1 strike. Low. Ball 2, 2-1. The way he falls toward first, you think you could bunt on him, wouldn't you? Two and 1 to Kaline. Stanley on first, 1 out. Foul. 2-2.
Here in slow motion, we'll get an idea of how he falls off that mound. Now watch his body. About 2 feet over. Great shot.
2-2 to Kaline. Stanley at first, 1 out, no score. 4th inning. Kaline reaching for a high fastball, pops it foul. This one is out of play. Whitey Ford has 94 strikeouts in his lifetime in the World Series. Gibson now has 89. Two and 2. Strike 3 to Caray. Not even looking at her fastball. 6 strikeouts in this game for Gibson. And, of course, every strikeout he records now, he will put the frosting on the strikeout record for 1 World Series. He already holds a 1-game record, a 1 World Series record, and he's bearing down on the all-time World Series record. Norman Cash flying to right field his first time. There are 2 down. Stanley's on first. Cash slams it. Foul. Oh, he tagged that one. Got around on it a bit too much.
Boy, that's a 3rd tier up there, Curt.
Who is that? Joe Garagiola, right. A little more reach there, Joe.
It's Ed McCauley, I believe, who's got it.
Ed McCauley. Well, he had a pretty good stretch up there in those rebounds in basketball. Cash ripping away at a fastball, 0-2. Tigers in the 4th have 2 down. Stanley at first, no score. Gibson's throwing more fastballs now, Harry.
He frequently does that. Goes along with a pitch that's particularly effective for him and then changes to other pitches.
Pitch out.
I think what happened, Curt, the first few fastballs he tried, they weren't exactly the Gibson fastballs, so he went to his breaking ball, his curve and slider. Now apparently he's found his fastball again.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Norm Cash. The curve is a little bit outside. 2-2. Willie Horton on deck for the Tigers. If Cash does something, he'll be up next. Two-two pitch on the way. Ground ball to the left side. Shannon's up with it. His throw to first is in time by 2 strikes. And the Tigers are retired in the 4th. They had no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 3 1/2, Tigers nothing, Cardinals nothing.
We pause now for station identification. This is the CBC Television Network.
Well, I'm not a young boy, Tony. I'm Don Davidson of the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, you're not in school anymore.
No, I got out 25 years ago, Tony, as you know.
Don Davidson, nice seeing you. Good luck to you and the Braves next year.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Let's go back upstairs right now.
Our good friend Donald Davidson. 6th inning. Don Wirt, first pitch. Fly ball, center field, should be easy. That'll bring up Mickey Lolich, who hit a home run here in the 2nd game of the series. You know, as you reflect on this series so far, the performance of Lolich becomes even more outstanding. He has kept his team in this series to a point where they could win it all right here today. Not even to mention, there's a smash. Javier on 1 hop will throw him out. Ball was hit hard. To think what the audience would have been deprived, Curt, if Mickey Stanley had not been able to play shortstop. To think that an Al Kaline would not have been in this World Series is almost a tragedy.
That's right. And one thing the Cardinals talk about Lolich is after he gave up the 3 runs in the 1st inning of Game 5, the way he battled back and held on. They said that's what showed them what a good pitcher he was.
Dick McAuliffe, the 2nd baseman, takes a curve in there, a strike ball. McAuliffe fouled out and flied out. He's had 6 out of 25 in the series. Hit .249 during the season with 16 homers. Evens it up, a ball and a strike.
Gibson's pitching like he has a plane to catch.
He always pitches this way. He averages about a 2-hour ball game. The 1-1 pitch, and it's high. 2 balls and a strike. They play McAuliffe to pull, and he pulls one off his leg foul. Rhodes in fair territory, and he had an idea of the agility of one Bob Gibson on that. He's like a cat off that mound. Well, he was a great all-around athlete. Good enough at basketball. Not only star for Creighton University, but to play with the Harlem Globetrotters. Two pitch. No score in the 6th. There's a fly ball. Deep, but it'll be caught. Flood waits. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. At the end of 5.5 innings, it's still Detroit nothing, St. Louis nothing. Schedule, the AFL Championship, the Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Senior Bowl, the Super Bowl, and the AFL All-Star Game. All in color exclusively on NBC. Lou Brock leading it off. Nothing out of 2 in this game. Twice has bounced to the second baseman, McAuliffe. He was going to bunt. 1 ball, no strike. Lolich has been going directly sidearm to Brock, feeding him a lot of sidearm curve. Wirt playing very shallow at third base to guard against the bunt. Again, he's wide with a slider. 2 balls, no strikes. Lou Brock leading off, no score. You have the feeling that a run will do it. Which team will get that run? Base hit. Lou Brock's 13th hit of the series. That ties Bobby Richardson's record for most hits in a World Series. Now Javier comes up. Nobody out. That's the second inning in a row that the leadoff man has had a base hit. McCarver led off the 5th, but nothing happened. Brock is on. Will he attempt to steal? Harry Kyle and Lou Cussard will keep a closer eye on him than even anybody here on the diamond can. Pitch out. He may have almost been crossed up. Brock, very intent. Boy, look at him. Watch his eyes.
He stole 2 bases against Lolich and Freehan and the Tigers there in Game 2.
Look at that lead he had. Certainly they're going to throw over. And there he goes the other way. Out! That's the play that worked here earlier in the series, but not this time.
He just dared him to make that throw to first. Cash fired down to Stanley, and they have the tag on him. He just dared him. Look at that lead. Different angle. See that big lead? He dared him to make the throw to first, and as the ball headed to first, he was going to break the second and grab it. But Cash had a perfect strike down to Stanley to get him. A big play for the Tigers now to rub Brock out.
Now Javier batting with nobody on base and 1 out. Bill Freehan now talking to Mickey Lolich. No score. A tense battle here in the decisive game. Lolich against Gibson. Javier held up in time, ball 2. 2 balls, no strike. You know, being associated with just one ball club, we don't see NBC's great sports crew too often. And here's the pitch, and it's a strikeout. So when we have an opportunity, it's certainly one fellows like Jim O'Gorman and Alan Roth and Roy Hammerman and Harry Carl and, of course, Lou Cusserow, Chet Simmons, to know that we've enjoyed their hospitality. 2 balls and a strike. Line smash to Stanley. Boy, he's been sucking him up down there at shortstop.
About 4 or 5 wicked shots hit at him.
And now Flood comes up. He singled in the first and stole a base. 2 men are gone. Bottom of the 6th. Lolich has been in a little more trouble. The ball has been hit harder against him. That's not what they pay off on. He's kept a run from scoring. That's what he's out there for. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gibson has been brilliant. He's allowed only 1 hit. And they're all tied up, nothing. Curve inside. You know, he has a good assortment of pitches. He can come over the top, and he can crossfire or sidearm left-handed hitters. He's got a good fastball. It seems like 2 kinds of curveball. Ground ball. Tough play for Stanley. Long throw. Safe. Cash did an adagio split. Trying to get that ball as soon as possible, but Flood legged it out, and now here's Cepeda. Cepeda homered off Lolich in Detroit. Orlando is 7 out of 26. For a 269 average. Flood has base stealing speed. He has stolen 3 bases in this series himself. The slider barely missed. They like to pitch Cepeda in tight, like to jam him with the ball. If you make just a little mistake and don't get it in far enough, it can hurt you. Corner that time.
Harry, this fellow's done a remarkable job with 2 days rest.
He certainly has. 1 ball, 1 strike. They got him picked off. Flood is caught off first base. There's McAuliffe now, and Lolich running him down the other way. Everybody's handled the ball, and he is tagged out finally by Mickey Stanley. 1-3-4-1-6 if you're scoring. You want to follow the slow action.
All right, here it is on the rerun. That's Lolich now, the pitcher. Here's Stanley faking a throw and then making the tag to wind up the play. So the Cardinals had 2 men cut down on a run time between first and second.
So it was 2 hits, no runs, no errors, nobody left. And at the end of 6 full innings now, still nothing. Mickey Stanley with a count of strike 1. Takes a fastball low. Cardinals ran themselves out of the 6th inning as both Brock and Flood were trapped. And now it's the 7th. High pop foul. Out of play. 2 strikes and a ball. What a dramatic finish to this World Series. The 2 best pitchers in the series hooked against each other, each going in with records of 2-0 and battling each other into the 7th, 0-0. Half swing, foul ball. Boy, that just missed inches, being an extra base hit, as Stanley had tried to check his swing. Ball just cleared Cepeda's head and foul by not more than a foot or so, if that much. 2 strikes and a ball on Mickey Stanley. 1 out of 2 in this game. Strike 3 call. The 7th strikeout for Gibson. He's approaching Whitey Ford's record for World Series strikeout. Mayo Smith of the Tigers, Red Shane East of the Cardinal. The leaders of the 2 clubs. Here's Kaline. Bouncing ball, Shannon to Cepeda, 2 away. And Gibson refuses to give in to the pressure put on him so heavily by the fine performance of Mickey Lolich. Here's Norm Cash, who's had a fine series with 9 out of 24, hitting .375. A real home run threat. That was a slider that was high. Cash hit 25 during the season. He's hit 1 in the series. Ooh, he had a cut. Even up, a ball and a strike.
How much bothers him?
Well, there's a 1-1 pitch. Low and outside. You know, if I were Phil Wrigley, the owner of the Cubs, I'd make a trade for Cash, because what an advertisement he is. He's got a lot of chewing gum in his mouth all day long. Curve, a dandy. Boy, that snapped in there. Two balls, 2 strikes. Another curveball, but low. Bob Gibson. Hasn't walked anybody today. He has fanned 7. He's allowed 1 hit, an infield hit. Line smash, base hit. And here's Willie Horton. Horton is the type of hitter you don't dare make a mistake on. And even if you don't make a mistake, he's strong enough to hit anything out of the ballpark. Base hit. And the Tigers now made their first threat with 2 out base hits by Cash and Horton. Brings up the Grand Slam kid, Jim Northrup. He's had 2 homers and 6 runs batted in the series. He had 21 homers and led his team in runs batted in during the season with 90. He's had 1 out of 9 against the pitching of Gibson, and that was a home run. That was the only run that Gibson's permitted in this series. McCarver and Gibson are not discussing the weather, which is beautiful. Northrup hits the ball to all fields. Fly ball, Flood. Hey, almost Flood. He misjudges it over his head. 2 runs are going to score. The same thing that almost happened earlier in the game to Jim Northrup, and now it has happened to one of the greatest defensive center fielders in baseball, Curt Flood.
As he started over, something happened to his underfooting. Watch this now. He catches his spike, see, and he nearly fell down. And that cost him gauging the ball. Flood very rarely has ever misjudged the ball out there, but when he stumbled on his way, it threw him out of his path. He couldn't get back. The ball sailed over his head, and the Tigers now have 2 runs in the 7th, and this all came after 2 out, nobody on.
So Detroit leads 2-0. Bill Freehan, the batter, he's nothing out of 2. Northrup, who now has driven in 8 runs. The curve is a beauty over the inside corner. Each team now has 4 hits. Two balls and a strike. After 2 are out, singles by Cash and Hart. Brought up Northrup with the ball hard, but directly in the center field. Flood slipped as he started for the ball. Swung and missed, and it's evened up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Long drive, left center field. Brock on the run. Can't make the play. A base hit. Another run is in. Tigers lead 3-0. A double for Freehan. And that Detroit dugout now is a happy place. Three to nothing, Detroit in the 7th inning. The Tigers trying to become only the 3rd team in World Series history to be down 3 games to 1 and still win the series. Words being intentionally packed. That will bring up Lolich. Mickey Lolich, who has shut the Cardinals out for 6 innings. And he fouls it into the Cardinal dugout.
Harry, how often have you seen 4 hits in a row against Gibson?
Not often. Lolich, fanned in the 3rd, bounced out in the 6th. Struck him out. So the Tigers finally break the ice here by scoring 3 runs on 4 hits. No errors, 2 men were left. They go to the bottom of the 7th. Detroit 3, St. Louis nothing.
Sunday AFL games on NBC. Houston at Boston, Denver at New York in the first game. Second game with a big one, San Diego at Oakland, and Cincinnati at Kansas City. Right now in the final game of the World Series, the Tigers have broken through 3-0. Mickey Lolich pitching with 2 days rest now has the lead. Let's see if he can hold it, Harry Carey.
Orlando Cepeda, who walked his first time and bounced out his other time, is at the plate. St. Louis trails 3-0. There's no tomorrow. This is it. Foul out of play. Lolich looks as if he should pitch on with 2 days rest all the time. He has been great. Chased a high fastball. The Cardinals were ahead in this World Series Monday, 3-1, and got 3 runs in the first inning. The Tigers came off the floor to win that game, won yesterday, and are in front today. Two strikes and the ball. Rushed him back, and it's even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 3-0 Detroit. Bottom of the 7th. The 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. 1 away, and here's Mike Shannon.
He's throwing harder now than he did early in the game. He's really firing. He's sneaky fast anyway.
He's sharper, too. Early in the early innings, a little wild. Behind on hitters, walked 2 men. But since the 2nd inning, he has been absolutely perfect. Here's Shannon. One strike and no balls as he grounded 1 foul. Joe Schultz, coaching at third base, sidestepped that one. 3-0, Tigers lead. Bottom of the 7th in St. Louis. That evens it. He faked the bunt. The outfield straight away. The curve was high. 2 balls and a strike. 1 out. Kaline now plays Shannon well over towards center. Curve is a dandy. That evens it up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 3-0, Tigers in front. Scored 3 runs. Everybody enjoys baseball. All 3. Mike Shannon. Cardinals need base runners if they're to do anything with Lolich, who has a 3-run lead. Easy fly ball. Hey, and Northrup dropped it. Shannon going to second. Horton and Northrup almost collided, and the ball dropped off Northrup's glove.
Here it is now. Looks like an easy chance. Here's Willie Horton. Looks like he's getting to the ball first. Now Northrup comes in. There they are, both reaching up. Northrup. That ball might have just been jarred. You saw Horton try and fade back and get out of his way. No matter how many times you tell ball players to talk, to yell, I've got it, that will happen. It happened on a foul ball in Detroit between Freehan and Caray.
It's ruled an error on Northrup. Shannon is at second base with one out. McCarver, who has walked and singled in this game, he's had 2 out of 8 against Lolich in the series. High fly. Kaline will catch it. Shannon holds. Hey, he's almost tagged at second base on a fine play by Stanley.
The shortstop cut it off, and Kaline purposely shaded that throw toward the bag when he saw Shannon holding at second.
That would have been something. Here's Maris now. He's nothing out of 2. Hit into a double play and struck out. Dick Schofield going down to the right field corner. Apparently there'll be a pinch hitter for Maxville if it goes at 4 in this inning. Swings and he misses a curve. There's Schofield going into the bullpen area to limber up. Lolich has stopped the Cardinals cold. 2 out here in the 7th. Shannon at second base. Popped it up. Shortstop Stanley is there. And it's no runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. At the end of 7 full innings, Detroit 3, St. Louis nothing.
We pause now for station identification. This is the CBC Television Network.
With Curt Gowdy and Tony Kubek, this is Harry Caray at Busch Memorial Stadium. We're in the top of the 8th of the final game. Dick McAuliffe takes a pitch high. Tigers out in front 3-0. Bouncing ball, Javier will throw him out. Here's Stanley, who has been absolutely remarkable playing shortstop. And the bold move by manager Mayo Smith at the inception of this series has certainly paid off. Maxville's the shortstop. 2 men are gone.
He made another bold move in Game 5 in the 7th inning with 1 out, nobody on, the Tigers trailing, when he let he let Lolich hit for himself. That was a turning point in that game, too.
Here's Al Kaline. Hitless so far today, nothing out of 3. 11 out of 28 for the series. There's a line drive to Javier. He's got it. 1-2-3, nothing across. We go into the bottom half of the 8th inning. It's still Detroit 3, St. Louis nothing. Phil Gagliano will be the pinch hitter here for Dow Maxville.
Harry, it's surprising the Tigers have been pulling a defensive change when they've had the lead in the late innings, moving Stanley back to center field, putting Euler in and moving Northrup to left. But they're staying right now with their starting lineup with a 3-run lead.
Gagliano takes the curveball inside. Gagliano nothing out of 2 in the series. Bouncing ball to work. Throws perfectly. 1 away. And the defending champions of baseball are running out of time here. Here's Bob Gibson, who will bat for himself.
We're going to have that play discussed. It'll become a famous play in World Series history. Northrup fly ball that Flood stumbled on, nearly fell down, and sailed over his head with 2 outs. That's the play of the series.
Here's Bob Gibson. Fouls the pitch back. And I imagine that 6th inning of the Cardinals will be talked about quite a bit too, Curt. When Lolich picked 2 men off first base. One's foul. He's behind 2 strikes and nothing. Gibson bounced to third and popped up in this game. He trails by 3. Bottom of the 8th. Mickey Lolich. Trying for his 3rd victory of the series. Fouled it back. 2 strikes, no ball.
We've been talking about Gibson and Brock and Kaline as the star of the series. Certainly it's Lolich right in there now.
I should say so. Held up in time. 2 strikes and a ball. Bill Freehan thought he had gone around. Tom Gorman says no, Bill. Nobody on base, 1 away. Did the ball pick the bat for a foul tip strike? Mayo Smith, manager of the Tigers. Bob Gibson with a count of 2 strikes and a ball. Struck him out, swinging. That's a 4th strikeout for Lolich. The Cardinals got 3 runs in the 1st inning off Lolich Monday afternoon in Detroit, and since then he has shut them out. The next 8 innings Monday, for the first 7 2/3 innings here today. Here's Lou Brock. Was hit safely in 9 World Series games in a row. Sweeping curveball, low and outside. Lolich coming from the side to the left-hand batter. Low and outside, ball 2. I know people are watching this game intently everywhere, Curt. Can't you just visualize him in Detroit and in that area?
Well, they waited 23 years to get back in the World Series. Now they're 3 runs up here in the 8th inning.
Ball 3 is low. Lou Brock bounced out to McAuliffe his first 2 times, then singled to left. Drew a throw to first as he headed for second and was cut down. Walked him, ball 4. And here comes manager Mayo Smith of Detroit, strolling towards the mound as Bill Freehan has preceded him there, along with second baseman Dick McCullough.
I'm sure all he wants to know is, are you tiring? Tell me honestly now, that arm getting a little bit tired? If you are, we'll get a fresh man in here. That's his first walk since the 2nd inning. He walked a man in the 1st, a man in the 2nd. Of course, one of the tips usually on a fellow losing his stuff, retiring, is when he starts to lose a little control. But he hasn't. Got the first 2 men out in this inning. Now Brock's on first. 3-0 Tigers, and let's see what happens.
Julian Javier's hitless today. Nothing out of 3. Has hit the ball sharply each time, but out. 2 men are gone. The runner at first base, LeBlanc. Lolich's pitch. He bunts. Work. Fielding and throwing. Good plays out. Quick play by Wirt. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 8 full innings, Detroit 3, St. Louis nothing. Dick Schofield is taken over at shortstop for Dow Maxville, for whom the Cardinals pinch hit in the 8th. Norm Cash, who started the 3-run rally with 2 out in the 7th, will be the batter.
Harry, you know who played a tremendous game in the field today is Don Wirt at third. He's had some tough chances.
First pitch by Gibson is swung on, a long, high fly ball that'll be caught by Maris in right field. 1 out here in the top of the 9th. Our statistician has been Alan Ruff. Our production manager, Jim O'Gorman. Our videograph operator has been Bill Rose, assisted by Arnie Reed. Our special videotape segments. Here's a pitch lined in the left by Horton for a base hit. Our special videotape segments prepared by Barry Stoddard. So Willie Horton gets his second hit of the ball game. He's at first base with 1 out. Tigers now have out-hit the Cardinals 6-4.
Look, the Tigers may want a pinch runner.
Somebody comes running out of that gate in left field.
Like Suzuki.
Willie Horton leaves the game. And it is Dick Suzuki who's running into the Tiger dugout. Curt, while I have a moment, I certainly want to thank you and Tony Kubek and all the fellows. I mentioned this as many as they came to mind a little earlier, but the courtesies are much appreciated.
Well, we appreciate that, and thank you, and also George Kell, who did such an outstanding job to telecast with the Tigers.
Here's the pitch, and Jim Northrup takes a curveball low and outside. Northrup got the decisive hit as of now. Foul out of play. Northrup has tied Kaline for RBIs with 8. Had a grand slam homer yesterday, had a triple with 2 on today. Fastball low. Ground ball up the middle, through a hit. Here's Krzyzewski racing to third, and he'll make it. And the Tigers threaten to add more. With runners at first and third, only 1 out here in the top of the 9th. And Bill Freehan, who's had 1 out of 3 driving in a run today, coming to the plate. Freehan's had only 2 hits in the series, but each has driven in a run. Popped up. Foul territory of Cepeda. 2 out.
We also want to give credit to the Commissioner of Baseball, William D. Eckert, Joe Reichler, the Director of Public Relations, Charlie Seeger, the Secretary-Treasurer, and Monty Irvin, the Commissioner's Office. The job they've done in the series. To Bing Devine, Jim Tooney of the Cardinals, Shane Deans, the manager, and to Augie Busch, the owner.
Here's Don Wirt, line drive, base hit, a run is in. Wirt singles to center. He's had 2 hits in the series, both were off Bob Gibson. It's 4-0 Detroit now. Listen to the hand for Mickey Lolich. Pops it up. Short center. Javier there. Takes it. And it's 1 run, 3 hits. No errors, 2 left. Going to the bottom half of the 9th inning. It's Detroit 4, St. Louis nothing. Defensive moves being made. Euler goes to shortstop. Stanley moves to center field. And Northrup to left field. So Ray Euler's at shortstop. Mickey Stanley in center. And Jim Northrup is in left. Lolich going the bottom of the 9th has a 4-0 lead. Curt Flood leading off. First pitch is a fastball strike. I know the Tiger owner, John Fetzer, an old boss of mine, worked in Kalamazoo, must be happy, along with the general manager, Jim Campbell, and publicity director, Hal Middlesworth. Here's a slow curve, strike 2. Mickey Lolich has a 4-0 lead over Bob Gibson and the St. Louis Cardinal. Foul tip. Lolich now has pitched 16 straight scoreless innings against the Cardinals. Bottom of the 9th.
Cardinals have only scored 2 runs here in their last 3 games.
The curve is low. 2 strikes and a ball. The Tigers out-hit the Cardinals 8-4. Line drive, and Euler makes the grab.
That Tiger infield has played some game behind Lolich today. They have fielded brilliantly.
Here's Cepeda with 1 away. The Tigers have shown the world why they won the American League pennant. And they have roared from behind against the defending world champion St. Louis Cardinals to a point where they're 2 outs away from replacing them. Popped up. Cepeda on the first pitch. Freehan under the ball. He's got it. Tiger fans who are here are on their feet. And I imagine Bedlam will break loose when this final out is completed.
Going to be some automobile horns squawking in the Motor City.
Mike Shannon is nothing out of 3. Fastball low. High. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 out. The Detroit Tigers, 1 out away from the World's Championship. Fastball in there.
Harry, we can't see the bullpen. The Tiger bullpen delegation is no longer out there. They're beyond the wall, but they're looking through a gate. But I don't believe they've had a man warming up today. So confident have they been in Lolich.
There's a long drive. Back near the wall, Northrup, but it's out of here for a home run. And the Cardinal fans have their first chance to cheer. Mike Shannon makes it 4-1. Shannon now has hit one home run in each of the 3 World Series he's been in. One against the Yankees in '64, one against the Red Sox last year, and one against the Tigers today. Here's McCarver now. There you get a look at the Tiger players in the bullpen, and they'll be racing for the playing field. McCarver pops up. Here's Freehan. Detroit, the new world champion. And look at Freehan picking up Lolich. And there is a scene that has been repeated many times in World Series history. It's a happy bunch of Tigers. They have beaten the Cardinals 4-1, and they have replaced them as the champions of baseball.
And they made some comeback. They were trailing 3-1. They were behind 3 runs in the first inning of Game 5. They came back to win. They walked in here and murdered the Cardinals yesterday. They win again today, and 28-year-old Mickey Lolich now has joined Christy Mathewson, Jack Coombs, Babe Adams, Stan Kovaleski, Harry Burkeen, Lou Burdett, and Bob Gibson as pitchers who have won 3 games and lost none in a World Series. And Lolich did it with 2 days rest and beat Bob Gibson to do it. Some feat.
Well, there's the Tiger clubhouse. The final score, Detroit 4, St. Louis 1. The total's 4-8-1 for Detroit. Lolich the winner, 3-0 in the series. 1-5-0 for the Cardinals. Gibson the loser, 2-1 in the series. Well,
radio and television to you baseball fans around America. They've been with NBC and the Warriors since 1939. Right now, we're going to the Tiger clubhouse and to the Tiger broadcaster, Ernie Harwell.
Thank you very much. We're in the Tiger clubhouse and a wild celebration for the new world champions. And here is the Commissioner of Baseball, William Eckert, and he has a special presentation to Manager Mayo Smith, Owner-President John Fetzer, General Manager Jim Campbell. Mr. Commissioner, it's yours.
I'm just delighted to be here. Mayo, congratulations on one of the greatest comeback victories in the history of the series. I want to congratulate you, John Fetzer, the players, Jim Campbell, all the Detroit Tiger organization for this great series triumph. You certainly won it from a great Cardinal team, and in recognition of this great achievement, I want to present you a beautiful World Series trophy here today.
Well, thank you, Commissioner.
Thank God. Hey,
Here it is.
well, Commissioner, thank you very much. On behalf of the players, Mr. Fetzer and Jim Campbell and all the Detroit organization, and this is a very, very happy day for all of us. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Mayo Smith. Mayo, while we've got you up here now, were there any special instructions to the fellows before the game? Did you have a meeting or anything like that?
Ernie, no. There was no special instructions, no.
When did you feel that this series made its turn in favor of the Tigers? What special game?
I think it was the 5th game in the 7th inning when we came from behind after being down 3 runs in the first inning, and we went on to win it 5-3. And
That's when Caray got his bases
that's
loaded
right.
here.
That's right.
And then what about the game today? I guess it was a hit by Northrup, wasn't it?
Well, of course, yeah, but Mickey does such a great job to keep us in there. We felt that if we could stay to Gibson, in the latter innings, we'd have a chance of getting him because he pitched a lot of baseball, and we were just fortunate enough to, as I say, to sort of break it loose in the 7th inning.
Well, congratulations, Mayo. I know you're going to be very busy. We want to talk to some of the players. Let's see if we can find Denny McLean's right here, a fellow who won the game yesterday, came back and kept the Tigers in it, and I guess you're very
Well, we've been doing this all year, Ernie. There's no time to stop now. Just fantastic. This is bigger than winning a pennant. It's unbelievable.
Denny, what were you doing when Northrup hit that ball? Where were you, out in the bullpen?
Out in the bullpen,
yeah.
right.
And did you get a good look at it?
Yeah, Flood misjudged the ball.
Yeah.
That's what happened. He slipped on a play or something, but that's the way we've been winning games, waiting for other clubs to make mistakes, Ernie. And we proved it again today.
Well, you've been great champions. Thank you, Denny McLean. We got Willie Horton here. Willie? Willie, you came through with a big single in that rally, and I know you must be feeling very happy right
I feel
now.
real good, Ernie. You know, they underrated it. They think we couldn't do it. We came back after we was down, and just feel great.
And you beat one of the real tough pitchers in baseball in Mr. Bob Gibson, didn't you?
That's true. Now we number one.
Well, congratulations, Willie Horton. Now we've got the veteran on the Tiger team, Al Kaline. It took him 16 years to get in the World Series, and I know it's been a terrific thrill for you, Al.
Oh, it really has, Ernie. Our club came back again and won 3 games in a row, and the St. Louis Ball Club is a great ball club, and Gibson's probably the greatest pitcher I ever faced. But this has been the secret of our ball club all year long. We came back, and we got a great job out of Mickey Lolich. Fantastic.
Well, thank you, Al, and have a nice rest of the winter. You're now a member of the World's Champions, and here's a fellow who won the 3rd game in the World Series, his 3rd victory, Mickey Lolich. And Mickey, it has been fantastic what you have done.
Thank you, Ernie. Thank you very much. I really don't have too much to say right now. I really don't.
Did you feel very tired? Did you feel like that you might be losing your stuff toward the late innings?
I never got tired in the game. I was weak almost from about the 3rd inning on. I didn't have the real good, hard fastball that I do know how to throw. As you notice, most of the balls today were hit on the ground. I was throwing a sinking fastball all day. I didn't have the good, hard fastball. I had fairly good control, not as good as I usually like, but I kept making the ball sink, and I got him out.
The fact that you were tired helped that ball sink a little more, you think?
Right, it helped a lot. By being tired, it causes the ball to sink more.
Now, what about, you had a little conference on the mound right at the end. Did Mayo come out and ask if you had enough gas left to go, or what?
No, he says he just wanted to slow me down. He says he thought maybe I was getting too excited out there about, having it so close to coming to the end. He says, I want you to take it easy, relax, and throw like you've been throwing all day.
All right. Well, thank you, Mickey. It was a great performance, and have a very nice, quiet winter.
Okay.
And we'll be back in Busch Memorial Stadium in St. Louis in 1 minute. Sport Magazine awards the most valuable player of the World Series, the Dodge Charger GT. And this year, the award goes to the fellow we just talked to, Mickey Lolich, the 3-victory pitcher of the Detroit Tigers. And now it's our pleasure to introduce the American League president with a big smile on his face. It's nice to have a winner, Mr. Joe Cronin.
Ernie, I'm speechless. This was a terrific series, I want to tell you, and I know how you must feel after all being with the Tigers day in and day out, spring training on. But it was a great thing for a great game of baseball. Mickey Lolich and all those Tigers are just a great credit to our game.
Well, thank you, Mr. Joe Cronin.
And the Tiger organization is one of the tops in baseball.
Thank you very much, and nice to have you with us. And here's a young man named Dick McAuliffe.
Hello, Ernie.
It's great to be with a world's champion, I imagine,
It's
Richard.
the greatest feeling in the world, Ernie.
And where'd you get that hat, anyway?
This is Campbell's hat, and I stole it from him, and I told him if we win this thing, I want this hat, and he gave it to me.
He's got to buy it back from you right now.
No, he's not going to have this stuff again.
Well,
really
you're getting a little heckling from Bill Freehan. Let's get him up here, and then somebody else can heckle him a little bit. Here's a fellow who sparked the Tigers throughout the year, Bill Freehan. He had a little... And here's a young man named Dick McAuliffe.
Hello, Ernie.
It's great to be with a world's champion, I imagine,
It's
Richard.
the greatest feeling in the world, Ernie.
And where'd you get that hat, anyway?
This is Campbell's hat, and I stole it from him, and I told him if we win this thing, I want this hat, and he gave it to me.
He's got to buy it back from you right now.
No, he's not going to have this stuff again.
Well,
You're
getting a little heckling from Bill Freehan. Let's get him up here, and then somebody else can heckle him a little bit. Here's a fellow who sparked the Tigers throughout the year, Bill Freehan. He had a little trouble with the bat right at first, and then he got a couple of hits to help us along. Bill, congratulations on being on the new world champion.
Thank you, Ernie. It's a tremendous thrill. I thought maybe winning the pennant was the biggest thrill in my life, but I think I know this is. It's beautiful. We've come back from behind all year, and we did it again. I never thought we could, but we did, and I don't know, a lot of people must have been praying for us.
Bill, how did you feel about Lolich when he started? Did you think he had his stuff? Did you think he could last?
Well, I started to worry maybe in the middle innings. It looked like he was getting a little tired, but he's got a whole lot of guts. And he just kept on fighting and fighting and fighting. And we finally got some runs off Gibson, and he just got tougher after that.
Well, he didn't have too many strikeouts going for him, but he seemed to be putting the ball where he wanted to, didn't he?
Yeah, he was keeping the ball down low. Basically, he didn't expect him to have super abilities today, but we talked before the game and said, you know, we're going to basically try to keep the ball down, and he did, and he got the guys hit the ball on the ground at somebody, and that's the secret of the game.
Well, thank you, Bill Freehan, and best of luck to you. Now we've got Jim Northrup. And, Jim, you figured in the key play of the World Series, I believe, the three-base hit that scored the 2 runs that put the Tigers in the lead. You can see the replay now where Curt Flood comes in, seems to trip and fall. Then the ball's over his head, and the runs come in, and you get into third base. And that was the key play. Did you feel like the ball was going to go a long ways when you hit it?
Well, Ernie, I hit the ball real good. I hit it hard and on the line, and it was a little bit to the left center of Flood, and I didn't know for sure if it'd get over his head because I know he plays deep, but I knew I'd hit it good and it had a chance. And when I see it go over his head, I was the happiest person alive right then. I am right now, too.
That's got to be even a bigger thrill than your Grand Slam home run of yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure is, Ernie. It's the biggest thrill I've ever had, and it's the type of ball club we've had all year. We've been behind before, and we keep coming back. We don't ever give up, and we proved it again today.
Jim, what about the ball that you and Horton converged on in the outfield? It seemed to hit your glove and bounce away. Did you have trouble waving Willie off, or he have trouble waving you off, or what happened on that?
I couldn't hear Willie, and he couldn't hear me. I was yelling all the way, and I happened to pick him up just as I went for the ball, and I didn't want to run over him, so I tried to veer off and still catch the ball and hit in the end of my glove and drop. So it was just one of those things where the crowd is yelling, and you can't hear each other out there. And when I saw Willie, I should have gotten out of the way, but I didn't want to let it drop. It was my fault, and it was an error, and I thought I could get around him and catch the ball anyway, but it doesn't matter now. We won it.
Well, Jim Northrup, when you came to the clubhouse today, did you have the feeling that the Tigers would win this game?
I sure did. Eddie Matthews and I were talking with our wives last night, and I said, Eddie, I got a feeling we're going to win that thing tomorrow. And Eddie says, I do too. He says, I don't get a feeling very often, but he says, I got a feeling we're going to beat them. And I just had a good feeling that we were going to beat these guys, and I'm awfully happy we did.
Well, thank you, Jim. Let's talk to another Jim now, the player representative of the Tigers, the fine catcher, Jim Price.
Thank you, Ernie.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Ernie. I just like to express from the members of the team how grateful we are to the people of Detroit and the state of Michigan for supporting us like they did. We feel that they sort of pulled us together, and we maybe helped pull them together a little bit.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and I'm sure that it's true from both sides, Jim.
Thank you, Ernie. It's all the guys asked me to do this, and we're just glad we won it for them and the people around the country.
Well, it's nice of you to come up here, and we appreciate that comment. And I know that the Tigers have become a fine team all the way, and our congratulations.
Thank you very much, Ernie.
And now let's go upstairs.
All right, thank you. And Ernie Harwell was talking about coming from behind. The Tigers now become the 3rd team in the history of the World Series to come back from a 3-1 deficit. The Pirates in 1925 came back to win after trailing 3-1. The Yankees were trailing the Braves in 1958, and they came back from 3-1. And when the Tigers were behind 3-0 in the first inning of Game 5, when they looked so bad against the Cardinals in their own ballpark, in fact, a few of their fans were even booing them, Harry, on Sunday in the rain, to come back, matched the type of team it was. They won over 40 games during the regular season behind from the 7th inning on.
Well, the two champions hooked up here, and Detroit now is the new champion, Curt, and they've earned the title. It's been a great series. They have power up and down their lineup, and Lolich, of course, is supreme. I was interested in his winning the Sport Magazine Award for the Outstanding Player of the Year of this series, and he certainly was that, although he wasn't alone. There were many men, Northrup and Kaline, Cash, without too much publicity, and you can't overlook the play of Stanley at shortstop. To me, that's the most remarkable thing in the World Series, that a fellow who's a great defensive center fielder can move into shortstop at the start of a World Series with all that pressure and do the kind of job he did. My hat is certainly off to Stanley and to the Tigers.
All right, Harry, nice job.
Thank you
Good
very
to work
much.
with you again, and we'll see you in spring training next year.
I hope so.
All right.
Thank you,
Harry
Curt. Bye-bye.
Caray, Telecaster of the Cardinals. Incidentally, I think probably the truest statement made before this series, as it turned out, a real prophet, Mayo Smith, who made all the right moves for the series, when they asked him what would happen if the Tigers came down to Game 7 and you had to face Bob Gibson. He said, well, boys, Gibson's a great, great pitcher, but he's still only a human being. Someday he's got to be beat. And as it turned out, the Tigers did finally beat him. That play will be talked about for years. I'd be anxious to talk to Curt Flood to see if he did misjudge the ball in center, or did he, stumbling and catching his spikes, allow Northrup's drive to sail over him in center field. But you'll be hearing about that after the game. So the Tigers win the World Series. Lolich wins his third game of the series. He beats Gibson here today, and the final score was Detroit 4 and St. Louis 1. The seventh game of this 1968 World Series has been brought to you by...
The St. Louis Cardinals won the first game of the World Series today, beating the Detroit Tigers 4-0. St. Louis pitcher Bob Gibson set a series record by striking out 17 Tigers. Here are the record-breaking pitches as described by NBC sportscaster Harry Caray.
Al Kaline, great star, playing his first World Series in 16 years, was his 15th strikeout. Once again, a standing ovation, a new World Series record. Just think, he's accounted for 16 of the putouts all by himself. He got him, struck him out. Look at the scene on the field. McCarver, the first one. Now his infielders all over him. A new world's record of 17 strikeouts in one game. Tony Kubek, I know, will be talking to him. The St. Louis Cardinals have won the first game of the World Series 4-0.
The Detroit Tigers became the world champions today by beating the Cardinals in St. Louis in the 7th game of the World Series. The score was 4-1. The Tigers' Mickey Lolich won his 3rd game of the series, beating the Cardinals' best pitcher, Bob Gibson. Gibson had a shutout for 6 innings, but he wore out in the 7th. After getting 2 men out, he gave up 2 singles, and then Detroit's center fielder, Jim Northrup, came to bat.
Northrup hits the ball to all fields. Fly ball, Flood. Hey, almost on. He misjudges it over his head. 2 runs are going to score.
The Tigers scored again in the 7th inning and got another run in the 9th for the 4-0 lead. Lolich kept his shutout going into the 9th. With 2 out, Cardinal third baseman Mike Shannon was the batter.
There's a long drive. Back near the wall, Northrup, but it's out of here for a home run.
That made it 4-1 for Detroit. Cardinals catcher Tim McCarver was up next.
McCarver pops up. Here's Freehan. Detroit's the new world champion. And look at Freehan picking up Lolich.
And that was how it ended, and here's how the city of Detroit reacted to its first championship in 28 years.
Elegant Busch Stadium is the setting for America's greatest sports spectacle, the World Series. An air of busy excitement grips St. Louis as fans clamor for tickets. Stan Musial, the greatest Cardinal of them all, is immortalized in bronze. There is a decorative confidence in St. Louis, for they're the defending world champions. Celebrities are everywhere, including Senator Eugene McCarthy. Detroit's starting pitcher Denny McLain talks about those 31 season victories. General William D. Eckert, Commissioner of Baseball, shows red Shanedines to Mayo Smith the World Series trophy. Suddenly, the vast stadium is hushed, the national anthem is played, and the 65th World Series of Baseball is about to get underway. The pre-game meeting of the umpires as they straighten out a rules difference between the two leagues.
In other words, the way we work the American League, they must wear their helmets. You fellas ought to not take them off.
All eyes key on Bob Gibson, a 22-game winner who established a new record for the lowest earned run average in National League history. He strikes out 2 in the first and 3 in the second. Norm Cash, Willie Horton, and Jim Northrup all go down. The St. Louis crowd loves every minute. Denny McLain pitching for the Tigers. Tim McCarver belts a booming triple to right center in the second inning for the first hit off the Tiger pitching staff. Denny, however, bears down and fires a third strike past Mike Shannon. Julian Javier at bat, and he too looks at a third strike. Tiger manager Mayo Smith breathes a sigh of relief as the Cardinals fail to score. In the third inning with 2 out, Lou Brock, the biggest thief in baseball, is now on first. Lightning Lou steals his first base of this series and then continues to third when Bill Freehan's throw goes into center field for an error. However, Brock is left on base, and the score remains 0-0. In the Cardinal half of the fourth, Shannon faces McLain with Maris and McCarver on and 1 down. The Tigers look a little tense as Willie Horton lets the ball get by him for an error. Roger Maris scores the first Cardinal run of the series, and McCarver goes to third. Shannon the second on the error. Javier at bat. He singles sharply to right to send McCarver and Shannon racing around for a 3-run inning. 6th inning. Tigers trailing 3-0. McAuliffe batting for Detroit with 1 out. Dick grounds a single to right. Gibson strikes out Stanley and now faces the veteran Al Kaline. Al lines a double down the left field line. McAuliffe holds at third. Norm Cash is up, but the incomparable Bob Gibson stops the Tigers with another strikeout to retire the side. Bob is now threatening the all-time World Series strikeout record of 15 for 1 game. Bottom of the 6th, Lou Brock the batter. They say the best thing to do with Brock is to keep him off the bases. I'm sure this isn't what they had in mind. Lou's home run makes it 4-0 St. Louis. Gibson is in complete control. Opening the 9th, Gibson faces Stanley, and Mickey loops a single to center. But it's the last hit of the game for the Tigers. By now, Gibson has struck out 14 batters to bring him just 1 shy of the World Series record. The batter is Al Kaline. Norm Cash is up next, and the count goes to 3-2. And this pitch makes history. A standing ovation for Bob Gibson. But Bob's not quite finished. 1 more out to go, and the batter is Detroit's leading home run hitter, Willie Horton. It's a record 17 strikeouts. Gibson also ties Lefty Gomez's record of 6 straight victories in World Series competition. It's a new day and new excitement. Millions of fans wonder if the underdog Tigers can shake off the effects of Bob Gibson's 17 strikeouts. Some of these fans are enjoying the luxury of today's modern baseball stadium. For St. Louis, Nelson Briles, the 19-game winner, is on the mound, and Willie Horton's the batter. It's the 2nd inning. Willie's not tense anymore. He strokes this one smooth as silk. A towering blast that sends Brock racing way back, but to no avail. A home run, and the Tigers lead 1-0. In the third inning, enter a new hero, Mickey Lolich. Mickey comes to bat and hits a home run. Was Mickey ever surprised?
Between the shock of everything, the first base came up right in the middle of my stride, and I stepped right over the top of the base, and I had to go back and, touch the base, and then Wally Moses says second base is that way, so I had to start running in that direction. I've never hit a home run in the 10 years I've been in professional baseball. The best I've ever done was a triple that Tony Kubek tried to shoestring, and I have hit 2 legal doubles that I've hit up the gap. That's the only extra base hit I've ever had, home run in professional baseball.
Norm Cash comes up now in the top of the 6th and makes it 3-0. Even the people in the stands are having a tough time with the shots the Tigers are hitting today. Briles now faces the next batter, Willie Horton. Willie wraps it deep to short. A long throw to first by Maxville. Safe. It looks as though Cepeda has a beef. And let's take a look at that play from another angle. Watch that ball roll up the wrist as Cepeda tries to cradle it against his chest. A great call by umpire Stan Landis. Lefty Steve Carlton relieves Briles and faces Jim Northrup, who singles. The Tigers are simply not swinging at the same stuff they faced in the first game. Wirt walks to fill the bases, and up steps McCullough. A sinking line drive to center seems to fool Curt Flood. He can't hold it, and it's scored as a 2-run single. Let's look at that play again. Two-run score, and the Tigers lead 5-0. In the last of the 6th, Lolich faces the determined Cardinal team. Brock walks and steals second. With 1 out, Flood beats out a chopper when Lolich slips. That's Brock on third as Cepeda comes to bat. Orlando bloops a pop fly in the short left center that falls among 3 Tigers. Brock scores to make it 5-1. A double play ends the inning. Detroit's Al Kaline opens the 7th with a clean single to left center. The Tigers come alive again. Pitching coach Billy Muffet tells them to get Ron Willis up in the bullpen. Meanwhile, Norm Cash has his sights on Carlton. Another single right down the middle. Willis pitching now with 1 out. Horton walks, and the bases are loaded. Northrup hits a double play ball right back to the mound. Al Maxville scoops it up, steps in the bag, fires to first for a beautiful double play. But Kaline scores, and Mickey Lolich again has 5 fat runs to work on. It's the last of the 8th as Brock tries to get something started for St. Louis. A single with 1 out. Look at that daring lead by Brock. Lolich tries to pick him off, but Lou immediately breaks for second. It's his 2nd steal of the game and 3rd of the series. With Joe Horner mopping up in the 9th, the Tigers rear up again. Kaline singles to left. Mayo Smith wants more runs. Norm Cash pushes a bunt just over the head of the on-charging Mike Shannon. Shannon still has everything under control, but he's pegged to second, pulls Maxville off the bag. Detroit gets 2 extra insurance runs when a pair of walk force in 2 and makes it now 8-1 in favor of the Tigers. Last of the 9th. Mickey Lolich faces Ron Davis with 2 out. Davis lifts the pop-up. Cash moves under. That's it. The Tigers have even the World Series at 1 apiece. And now it's off to Detroit as the scene of the World Series shifts for the 3rd game. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Detroit Tigers Each have their own charter plane, and away they go, off in the friendly skies. In Detroit, the enthusiasm for the home team is tremendous, and hopes have been reborn by Mickey Lolich's victory. It's been 23 years since the people here have had a World Series, and you can see the pleasure in the faces of the fans as they hurry to their seats at well-kept Tiger Stadium. And for the millions who watch TV, everything's ready. Earl Wilson pitching for Detroit, first inning. Lou Brock opens the game with a walk and steals second. As Maris takes strike 3, Brock tries to go to third and is out by the biggest margin of his life. Ray Washburn on the mound for St. Louis. Third inning, 1 out. Dick McAuliffe up. It's good for a single to left center. Famed number 6 Al Kaline connects for a beauty. His first World Series home run. And the Tigers are on top 2-0. Fifth inning now, and Wilson gets into deep trouble. Lou Brock leads off with a hit up the middle. Flood comes up, while Wilson worries about Brock. There goes that man again. His second stolen base of the game, and his thievery promptly pays off. Flood rifles a double into the left field corner, and Brock scores easily from second. Pat Dobson is the Tiger pitcher now. 2 on, 2 out. McCarver the batter. And there it goes. Into the upper right field stands. And the Cardinals now lead the Tigers 4-2. Washburn gets the sign in the Tiger fifth. And McAuliffe reminds the Cardinals that the Tigers can hit the long ball too. The St. Louis lead is down to 4-3. Joe Horner relieves Washburn in the sixth with the tying and lead runs on base. Bill Freehan the batter. There it goes to deep left. But Brock backs up to the warning path and makes the catch. A stiff wind kept that one from going out. Don McMahon pitching for Detroit in the seventh inning. Curt Flood opens it with a single. And of course, he's almost as fast as Brock. Roger Maris is the next batter. Tries to check his swing, but bloops a double down the left field line. Orlando Cepeda had hitting problems in the 1967 series against the Red Sox. But this is another year. And there it goes. Willie Horton going back, but is just in there. And that blows the game wide open, 7-3 St. Louis. Now keep your eye on pitcher Horner as he goes for that final out. The batter is pinch hitter Jim Price. He sends a fly ball to deep left. Lou Brock has it. It's a happy Joe Horner as the favored Cardinals take a 2-1 lead in the series. Next day, there's a hangover sadness in Detroit, and the skies rain down on Tiger Stadium. But series fans can't be discouraged by this. They come out anyway, for today is the occasion of the heralded rematch between Denny McLain and Bob Gibson. Commissioner Eckert and his aide Joe Reichler discuss the big question, to play or not to play. The Hawkers make their own kind of sunshine in the stands. How come it always tastes so much better at a ball game? Vice President Hubert Humphrey is here with Commissioner Eckert and Tiger owner John Fetzer. So play ball. Denny McLain pitching. The wet weather hasn't dampened Lou Brock. He belts McLain's second pitch into the stands. A tremendous 420-foot home run. What a dismal beginning for the Tigers. 1 out later, things continue to look really bleak for Detroit fans. McLain, obviously shaken, drops a good throw while covering first against Maris. Tim McCarver's up, and baseball's first 30-game winner in 3 decades is in trouble again. Only a nice cutoff in left center by Willie Horton keeps Maris from scoring. But Maris comes in a moment later as Mike Shannon chops one over the mound and beats it out. Third inning, McLean faces Curt Flood, the first batter. He singles to right. Once again, it's Tim McCarver. Jim Northrup tries to cut off the ball, but it goes through for a triple. Flood comes in to score, and McCarver pulls up with his second triple of the series. With 2 out, Shannon doubles down the third base line, and the Cardinals lead 4-0. The rains come down hard again, and the umpires call time. They order the field covered, and everybody waits patiently for an hour and 14 minutes on this sunless Sunday. When the action finally resumes, Joe Sparma has replaced Denny McLean on the mound. First man to face Sparma in the 4th inning is Bob Gibson. And there it goes. In 1967, Gibson hit a series homer against the Red Sox. Now he has 2 for a pitcher's record. Detroit's other nemesis, Brock, drives deep to right center for a triple. And that's all for Joe Sparma. Darrell Patterson takes over the Tiger pitching. Curt Flood lifts a high fly to Kaline in right field. Watch this perfect strike to the plate. Brock wisely holds up in respect for one of baseball's best arms. Maris is up. Look at that jump by Brock as Maris grounds out, and it's now 6-0 Cardinals. In the bottom of the 4th, Gibson gets a wee bit careless. And here's a home run by Jim Northrup. John Hiller, pitching for the Tigers in the 8th, gets tagged by Javier. And umpire Jim Honeychick is there to call it. Right on the line for a double. Mike Shannon, who reached on an error, holds up at third. After a walk to Maxwell fills the bases, Gibson walks to force in a run. The bases are still loaded. Up comes Lou Brock again, pure poison to the Tigers. He socks a tremendous cloud into deep center. It's his 8th hit of this World Series. 2-run score. When Stanley hesitates with the relay, Gibson scores, and Brock winds up at second. With Curt Flood at bat and Pat Dobson pitching, Lou Brock steals his 7th base, tying his own World Series record of a year before. In the last of the 9th, the Cardinals click off a neat double play to end the ball game. Bob Gibson sets an all-time World Series record with his 7th consecutive victory, and St. Louis now leads 3-1. One more loss, and Detroit is done. But does that dampen the spirit of Detroit? Does it matter to them that only 2 teams in World Series history have ever come back from that kind of deficit? If 2 did, why can't another? So tune up that Tiger enthusiasm. Hang up those Tiger signs. Let's hear those Tiger cheers. Get out those Tiger hats. Let's never forget that cats eat birds, that it's far from over, that Detroit will never say die. And so it's game number 5. Will the series end here or go back to St. Louis? Michigan Governor George Romney still hopes for a Detroit miracle. So does American League President Joe Cronin and Tiger President John Fetzer and Hall of Famer Goose Goslin. Mickey Lolich, who owns the one Tiger victory, is Mayo Smith's choice to keep the Tigers alive. It doesn't look good as Brock again leads off with a solid hit, a double down the left field line. More bad news as Flood and Cepeda await their turn. Curt rams a single to right, and the flying Brock scores easily. Now it's Flood who's threatening to steal. Cepeda the batter. There he goes. And Flood swipes second. And if that isn't bad enough, Cepeda has still another jolt for the tottering Tigers. He sends a high drive to left. It's his second home run of the series, and the Cardinals are quickly in front of Lolich 3-0. In the third inning, St. Louis bids for more. Brock leads off in his devastating fashion as he singles for his 10th series hit. He now has a chance to break his own all-time base-stealing record. But this time, the Tigers are ready with a pitch out, and Brock is flagged down. Nelson Briles carries his 3-0 lead into the fourth when Stanley rips one down the right side for a triple. All of a sudden, there's a ray of sunshine. There's hope. Suddenly, it's fun again to be a Tiger fan. 1 out later, Norm Cash flies to Brock and left. Stanley tags up. The peg is slightly off, and Mickey slides over safely to make it 3-1 St. Louis. Now it's up to Willie Horton to keep things going, and Willie does just that. He belts a drive in the right center alley. Flood handles the ball well, but Horton shows he can move a lot better than people think. Jim Northrup's up. Looks like an easy chance for second baseman Javier. Look at that bad hop. And scoring is Horton. It's a 3-2 ball game now. And that's how it is in the Cardinal fifth when two key plays turn the series around. First, with 1 out, Lou Brock gets his 11th base hit of the series. Horton made a good play on the rebound to hold Brock to a double. How important this is for Lolich and the Tigers soon becomes apparent. Javier is the batter. Brock has a short lead at second. Stanley's been ducking behind him. Horton gets set in left. Javier singles sharply to left field, and Brock heads home. The throw to Freehan is perfect, and plate ump Doug Harvey calls Brock out. Now let's take another look in slow motion. Look at Freehan's left leg blocking the plate. This could be the crucial play of this 1968 World Series. The Cardinals fail to score in the fifth. So it's still 3-2. St. Louis leading as Tiger manager Mayo Smith makes a crucial decision and lets Mickey Lolich bat for himself in the last of the seventh with 1 out. He floops one to right. Ron Davis just missed with a diving catch, and Mayo Smith's gamble is paid off. Dick McAuliffe comes up to bat against a new Cardinal pitcher. Briles has been relieved by Joe Horner, who saved the third game for St. Louis. With 1 out, McAuliffe slaps a grounder through the right side. And the Tigers now have 2 men on base. The pressure increases on Horner when he walks Mickey Stanley to load the bases. And this brings up a veteran player of 16 seasons, Detroit's sentimental favorite, Al Kaline, playing in his first World Series. With 1 out, and his team trailing by 1 run, he's the man on the spot. The count's 1-1, and Kaline loops a hit into right center. In comes Lolich and McAuliffe with a tying and lead run. It's 4-3 Detroit. Kaline is having a great series.
It sends goose pimples all up my back, and it was a tremendous thrill to think that I was able to do something for the fans after all these years.
Norm Cash up next, and he'd like to buy some insurance. With 2 men on base, Norm slaps it through the right side. The Tigers now lead 5-3 as Stanley crosses the plate. As the Tigers take the field for the top of the 9th, it is now up to Mickey Lolich to try and protect the 2-run lead. When McCarver leads off the 9th with a single, Cardinal manager Red Schoendienst sends up his best pinch hitters to try and win the series. Ed Spezio, after fouling off 8 pitches, singles to left. And now the tying runs are on base for St. Louis. With just 1 out, Roger Maris can put it away for good with a home run. And Maris has been known to hit quite a few. Lou Brock's on deck. But Lolich never wavers. He strikes Maris out. 1 out to go. And Brock the batter. Even the bullpen tensely watches. Lou tries to check his swing, but Lolich has him. And the Tigers win 5-3 and send the series back to St. Louis. For hero Lolich, a standing ovation and a kiss for Daddy. Busch Stadium, Game 6, and that rain's here again. So's the excitement. Everyone's talking about that big play at the plate in Game 5, including Lou Brock.
Well, that's a play that happened perhaps 15 to 20 times a year. It's an automatic play. Your reaction is automatic. Depends on the reaction of the catcher. You go and stand it up. And, of course, this particular play, the catcher was out in front of the plate. And as I said, it's always automatic as to what you're going to do. And if the play come up 100 more times in the series, I go and stand it up 100 more times.
Well, after the game the other day, the Raiders came up to me and everybody wanted to know if Lou Brock touched the plate or not. I said I had to be the worst person in America to know because I was trying to catch the ball and couldn't see a thing. So all I know is that I was surprised that he didn't slide, and I wasn't sure if he was coming back to argue about the play or not. I saw him start running back, so I just tagged him anyway. I didn't know exactly what he was coming back, if he was coming back to touch the plate. I was just making sure.
Of course, I followed the batted ball into left field. I saw Willie Horton field the thing. By now, Brock is coming around third base. I got myself back off the foul line enough out of Brock's way where he could clear me because I figured he would be coming in sliding. At the last second, as Brock starts past me, I take 1 step in towards him so I get a clear shot at the plate. In doing so, I see where Freehan's got the corner blocked, definitely. Now, he catches the ball just as Brock reaches it, and I know by the way he turns to him, he has to tag him because they're going to hit chest on, and he's got the ball and glove against his chest. So I forget worrying about the tag. I go immediately to the plate. I see Brock's foot that he reaches with. To me, it looks like, I say 3 to 4 inches to the side of the plate, and the other foot never touches it because now he hits the hip of Freehan, spins off, and Freehan is spinning with him. Now I see the ball come out clear because I have to wait to make sure that he holds the ball.
Here in St. Louis, National League President Warren Giles will throw out the ball for the 6th game. Gussie Busch, the owner of the Cardinals, is confident of victory. As is Denny McLain, who is making his 3rd try for a World Series victory. The Tigers are a team inspired. They threaten Ray Washburn in the 2nd inning. Willie Horton at bat with Norm Cash on first. Willie whacks one out to the wall in left center for a double. And Cash races home with Detroit's first run. Bill Freehan at bat. He hasn't had a hit in 16 times up. And now he comes through with a single. When the ball slips by Lou Brock for a 2-base error, Willie Horton scores, and Freehan goes all the way to 3rd. Manager Red Schoendienst's worries are just beginning, and so is the Tigers' third inning. Washburn pitches to Stanley, who singles to left. McAuliffe on with a walk goes to second. Kaline lines a single to center, scoring McAuliffe and sending Stanley to third. Lefty Larry Jaster comes in to relieve, and Cash singles to center, scoring Stanley and sending Kaline to third. After Horton walks to load the bases, Northrup hammers a grand slam into the right field stand. Hitting grand slammers isn't anything new for Jim Northrup.
Well, this was the fifth grand slam that I've hit this year. I hit 4 during the regular season. 3 of the 5 have been off left-handers this year, and some of the others, I think I've hit 8 in my career, and I think 5 or 6 of the 8 have been off left-handers too. So I've had pretty good luck against left-handers. I don't know why. I guess I concentrate more and try to get a better pitch.
Ron Willis relieves Jaster. The bases are loaded again as Kaline gets his second single of the inning, and 2 more runs come home. When Dick Hughes replaces Willis, Norm Cash gets his second single of the inning to add another run. Then Horton singles off the pitcher's glove for still another run. It's absolutely dizzying. But when everything comes into focus, the Tigers have scored 10 big runs in 1 inning to tie an all-time World Series record. Steve Carlton facing Kaline in the 5th, and Al connects for his second World Series homer. But the Tigers hardly need the extra 13th run. By the last of the 9th, Denny McLain can feel some vindication for his earlier defeats. His tired arm had failed him in the 1st and 4th games, and he gives up a run in this game when Javier singles Maris across. But on just 2 days' rest, Denny makes a vital contribution to the Tiger cause. He strikes out Maxville for the final out. Detroit has tied the series at 3 games all. A few days ago, it was a Cardinal runaway, and now it goes down to the final day. Game 7. Can Bob Gibson be beaten? Can the Tigers stop Lou Brock? Is Mickey Lolich going to wind up as the hero of this series? There are other stars, too, who have made this show so exciting. Norm Cash, Jim Northrup, Willie Horton, Al Kaline, the old pro, who got his opportunity to be a series star because of Mayo Smith's daring gamble in moving Mickey Stanley from center field to shortstop. Orlando Cepeda, Julian Javier, Curt Flood, Roger Maris playing the final game of his 11-year career, Mike Shannon, and Tim McCarver. But now it's Gibson against Lolich. Both start strong. Gibson has retired 10 batters in a row. In the 4th inning, Mickey Stanley beats out a hit to deep short to become the first Tiger base runner. But Detroit fails to score. The intense duel goes scoreless into the 6th when Brock leads off with his 13th hit to tie Bobby Richardson's all-time record for most hits in a World Series. Now Lolich takes great care with Brock at first. When Brock dares him to throw with that taunting lead, he fires to first. Cash makes a good throw. And there's a crucial out for the Tigers. Now it's Curt Flood's turn to move. He just beats out an infield hit by an eyelash. Again, we see that good Lolich move. Flood is trapped off. He can't get out of the rundown, and 2 of the game's best base runners have been wiped out. Into the 7th it goes, still a pulsating 0-0 tie. Gibson has retired 20 of the first 21 batters he's faced. but Norm Cash connects for a single. It's only the second hit off Gibson. Up steps Tiger strong boy Willie Horton. Willie slaps a bouncer that just makes it. And this sets the stage for the breakthrough. Jim Northrup's the batter. Cash takes a lead-off second. Northrup hits a solid drive to center. Flood misjudges the ball, and it sails over his head. 2 runs are in, and into third slides Northrup. It's 2-0 against superstar Bob Gibson. What happened to Flood, considered the best center fielder in the National League? Curt says the ball got lost momentarily in the white-shirted background. No doubt he lost sight of it, and then almost lost his footing. Detroit keeps it going. Bill Freehan drives one to left, and Brock can't quite make the catch. Northrup scores on the hit. 3-0 in favor of the Tigers. In the 7th, St. Louis desperately fights back. Mike Shannon comes to bat and lost one to left center, where Willie Horton and Jim Northrup are running a collision course. The ball drops and Shannon makes second. But not even a break like that can get the Cardinals started. It is now the 9th inning, and Bob Gibson still hangs in there. Red Schoendienst let him bat an inning earlier. I wanted him to finish, was the manager's tribute to his veteran star. Willie Horton singles as the Tiger bats get hot once more. Northrup bounces a hit up the middle to send pinch runner Dick Krasuski to third. Gibson now faces Don Wirt, who singles to center, and the Tigers get one last run, making the score 4-0 Detroit. With 2 outs in the last of the 9th, Mickey Lolich faces Mike Shannon. 1 out left. Mickey looks the picture of relaxed concentration. But there goes Lolich's shutout as Shannon homers to left field. It gives the Redbird fans one last chance to cheer. Tim McCarver's up, 2 outs in the 9th. It's a pop-up. Bill Freehan waits for it. The Tigers are the new world champions. And the city of Detroit is one big happy clubhouse.